matono nnyo. Papa, I can't drink it. I know I've said that part 2 is coming soon, and a lot of you actually subscribe to my channel just for part 2.
Depending how you look at it, 2 years and a half can be considered soon. Okay, I'm trying, I'm pushing.
There are a host of different reasons why I haven't put this out sooner, and we will explore those reasons throughout the course of this channel. Also, I might look just a little bit different, and that's mainly because I actually forget it. You have to subscribe to the channel to find out all of the juicy stuff that's been going on in my life. You need to like, and I just actually want to say thank you to everyone who, like, we're steady steamrolling to 100,000 views on the last video, and I know it's been a long time since I put it out, but for me that is like overwhelming. It's almost paralyzingly overwhelming, and I just want to thank everyone for the positive attitude, and for everyone who let me know that it inspired you so much, and everyone who just like poured out love. I just really appreciate it. Without further ado, with no more excuses, with no more holdbacks, here is the things that I love about, actually I already explored what I love. Here are the things that I don't love so much about being here. Here's my advice, and here are the tips. Let's get into it. So hot. I've put together kind of a Q&A to answer some of the questions that were most asked in the video or in the comments below. Number 1 question, how much money did you move with? I left England with, I think it was like £2,000. Okay, wait, I think I should actually start with a disclosure. I left when I was 27. I think I left a few days after my 27th birthday. I made the decision when I was around 26. At the time, and at the time of shooting the first video, I felt so grown and so old. Such a woman. In hindsight, I was actually quite young, and there are good things and bad things about that. One of the best things about that is I was actually quite naive and very optimistic, and I just don't know where I thought things were gonna come from or how things were gonna happen, but in my mind at the time I was just like, this is enough, this is more than enough. So yeah, like living, I don't know what I expected the like living costs to be, but I just thought I'll live with family until I secure a job, and then when I saw friends, and then when I secure a job I'll use that money to pay rent. And I thought, yeah, it was gonna be great. So at the time, that kind of like optimistic thinking, £2,000 felt like enough. Like, it's not like there's lots and lots to spend on, so yeah, I moved for £2,000. And then that goes into the next question, which was cost of living. Like, what is the cost of living? I think Rwanda, it has quite a high cost of living for the continent, or should I say for the region. I don't know what the cost of living in Kenya is. I can only really compare to like Tanzania and Uganda. Compared to Uganda, I feel like the cost of living is quite high. Very high, actually.
Export costs vary depending on where it is you want to move, so you might want to find out what the export costs are and how accessible things that you feel you might need are wherever it is you want to move to. That definitely impacts the cost of living.
Rwandese franc is actually like £1 is equal to like roughly around 1,000 francs. So it's like 1 to 1, and yeah, things are a little bit cheaper than in England, but roughly it's quite similar. Like, for example, I used to get on loads of borders or motos, or basically bikes, and roughly every little bike ride was somewhere between 600 to 1,000, sometimes more depending on where you're going. So that's like roughly between 60p to £1 every time you get on one. So if you get on one to go where you're going, and you've got, let's say, like 4 or 5 meetings in a day, where you go meet a friend and you get home, like, you find it adds up really quickly. Actually, you jump on borders quite a few times a day. You can easily spend around 6,000 Rwandese francs, which is around £6. Basically, public transport is better. You're not getting this kind of like door-to-door service, but for this door-to-door service, I'm spending about £6 to £7 a day. So that's like, transport is the easiest thing to kind of gauge cost of living by. For a dinner, my husband and I, a nice restaurant, to be honest, like a nice restaurant, but well, not nice like bougie, but nice, like the food is really nice. And I guess it's considered bougie for here, like 30 to 40,000. Yeah, cost of living in Rwanda is quite high, not gonna lie. My trip was very much a leap of faith, and I've seen so many people in my comments who were like, I want to do it, I'm considering the move, I'm considering moving to Africa, I'm considering moving to Rwanda, I'm looking for a place to go. It's very much a leap of faith, and for me, my gut was telling me to do that. I was very naive in thinking that it was just going to be rosy, and to be fair, it was quite rosy. They have been very tough times, but I don't think it's necessarily been due to the fact that I'm here. It's kind of due to the fact that this is life. I did have a lot of common misconceptions.
Obviously not that people were poor and starving.
I'd like to add that I don't feel like I moved to Rwanda, actually. I feel like I moved to Kigali, and I think the Kigali experience is very, very different to the other places in Rwanda, which I assume is everywhere in Africa, everywhere in the world. Like living in London is not the same as like living in Coventry, but you know.
Let's finally get into what I don't love.
The number one thing I was going to say last time that I was going to start with, and I think it's fair for me to share it because you just waited so long. Although I will say that my perspective has changed a lot since that video, but I'll share that number one thing. Number one thing at that time, for that version of myself, internet was so very, very, very expensive and quite crap in terms of like the speeds and stuff. I mean, it's not the worst. It's not like you can't connect, like you can't use WhatsApp. You can't, like, you know, you can't stream your shows. You can, but it's just slower than what you're used to, and it's actually just really, really expensive. So if you have a business, or if you're the kind of person who teaches yourself online, who like lives by YouTube and Google, and those are your actual best friends, if you're the kind of person who loves to FaceTime and Skype your best friends, this can be very annoying. One of my things that I just absolutely can't stand is WhatsApp, even though WhatsApp is like bae, because it means that I'm able to keep in contact with everyone back home, especially my mum. It's just really annoying to hear like 10 times throughout the conversation when you're just trying to like get it all out and you're trying the conversation to flow. And yeah, internet is just so expensive, and I just don't understand why. I know infrastructure and, you know, blah blah blah, but listen, it's 2018. People in Africa should be able to access internet at a fair price. It's just so unfair that it's so expensive, and just basic necessities.
Yes, I do think internet is a basic necessity in 2018.
It's so expensive and inaffordable to the average person. Like, I'm struggling to keep up with my internet prices. The next thing, it's really hard to keep in contact with your family. Obviously phones and everything is available, but that spirit and that vibe and that emotional connection you had with your friends and family becomes lost a little bit, because they're not experiencing what you're experiencing, they're not where you are, they're not seeing what you're seeing, they're not living what you're living, you're not living what they're living, and that drift and that's like growing apart just happens at a way quicker rate than I guess adulting usually happens. I know everybody grows apart and that's just how it happens, but when you live so far away from your friends and family, that just happens at an accelerated speed, which is really, really sad, but I guess it's a part of life. Okay, on that same note of communication, another thing that I don't love is that I don't speak the local language. Shock! I don't speak the local language, which makes it very difficult for myself. I don't know if this is like an everywhere thing. I know in Uganda a lot of people speak English. Well, actually everyone speaks English, but that's mainly because we have, I think it's 40 plus languages in the country, so the kind of basic baseline that everybody can communicate with everybody else is English. But obviously there's people who don't speak English, but everybody tries a little bit. Anyway, in Rwanda that's not so much the case at the moment, mainly because there's only one national language, like native language, which is Kinyarwanda, so it makes it easier for everyone to communicate. And 2, they used to be a French speaking country, and now they're an English speaking country. So there's a lot of people who are like lost in translation. A lot of people speak French but not English, or a lot of people just speak Kinyarwanda, which makes it very, very difficult if you don't speak French or Kinyarwanda. Also, the fact that they were like a francophone country and now they're like an anglophone country is like another layer to communication. Not only do you not speak the local language, you don't speak the language. Like, you don't speak the mannerisms, you don't speak the culture. It's very much a space where if you don't speak the local language, you're kind of locked out of the culture, because a lot is said through language, which is fair enough. Language is a powerful tool, and in Rwanda they really exercise that. So it's very difficult for me not to speak the local language. It's even more difficult because it's one of my home countries and I look like I should, if that makes sense. Like, I look like I'm from here, so what do you mean you don't speak the language? Also, do you find that a lot of people are not really forthcoming to you not speaking the local language? It's very like, why don't you speak it? Which just makes it very difficult for me and painful for me, and just gets me down sometimes because I don't speak it. It's not by choice. It's not like I shun the language. It's not like I wouldn't love to. I just find it quite a difficult language to learn. And to be honest, when people like put that attitude across of like, ugh, you don't speak it, it just makes me feel like, I don't want to speak it anymore. Kind of just like
Self-defense mechanism.
That's something that I find very difficult. If you're a language person, then it will do you a ton of good to figure out just a little bit. What I will say is, if you speak a little bit of the language, they are very, 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 very happy about that. My husband, who's from Belgium, actually speaks more Kinyarwanda than me, and people just get so excited when he starts to speak Kinyarwanda. It's just like, yeah, yeah. Then they look at me and they're like, Not speaking the local language is just what I am learning to love about that fact, is that you have to learn new ways to communicate, which is so funny. You've got to like communicate with something other than language, communicating with something other than your voice. And for a chatterbox like me, that is the challenge of life, because like I want to have this in-depth conversation with you, but I can't. So I start to learn to speak with my eyes, to speak with my hands, to speak with my gestures, to kind of like get what you're saying without you really saying it. And yeah, it's just a new way to communicate. Yeah, so I'm growing to love the fact that I'm learning other communication skills. Oh yes, something else that I don't love,
but I'm growing to love because I'm growing up.
You're not going to blend in. If you're from London, then you know you can look any which way, you can speak any which way, you can be from any place, and you're gonna blend in London town. Because what I've come to realize with like visiting back and forth is London has everyone, everything, every language, every looking person. Here, that's not the situation. People kind of just blend in. Sure, I don't know how to explain it. People just kind of blend in, and when you're not from here, you like stick out like a sore thumb. Again, in Uganda, yeah, like when I go to Uganda, a lot of people will shout across the road, Muzungu, Muzungu, and I'm like, how do they know that I'm not from here? Well, not from here. How do they know that I live abroad when like I'm not even that light skinned? Like, I haven't even said anything. It's not even my accent. Like, how do they know? But there's just a thing about you. Even if you're wearing a white t-shirt and jeans, they still just know. Like, there's just a way they know. Living out here, you stick out like a sore thumb. So if you are in diaspora, just embrace that. I wish that someone had told me that before. Just embrace the fact that you didn't grow up here. You are kind of Muzungu or whatever, and you're not gonna blend in. You're just not gonna blend in. Don't come here to blend in. Don't try to blend in. One of the things that I moved here, I was like, yes, Team 5 head. I'm so Rwandese, and I no longer have to hide my forehead or just, you know, look to Rihanna for inspiration, because everybody's got a big forehead in Rwanda, and I'm gonna blend in. I'm just gonna look just like everyone else. And a lot of people actually in my mentions were like, yeah, I'm tired of Europe, I'm tired of America, I just want to go back to my people, I just want to just be around people who look like me. One of my things was like, I'm going to live around people who look like my grandma, my mum, my uncle. I'm just so excited about that. Yeah, they do look like your family, you do look like their family, but that doesn't mean that you're going to blend in. So grow to love that from the jump. Don't come here excited about that. Just kind of embrace that.
Who wants to blend in anyway? Like, why did I even want to blend in? Blending is so boring.
But if you are insecure about people staring at you, yeah, nah. Just come here. Actually, if you are insecure about people staring at you, come here to work on that insecurity, because they will stare you down until you just don't care anymore about being stared at. So in a way, it's kind of a confidence booster. Next. Another thing that's like not my favorite thing about being here is that there is a lack of clear procedures. Like, I don't really know what I've got to do to get that end result. And to be frank, sometimes neither does the person who's helping me out, which is just sometimes things just go round and round, because things just take way longer than they should, and you just don't really know if you're on the right track, and you don't know if you do this, are you going to get that? And that's kind of something that I miss about Europe or London or England. It's like, you know, if you do this, you then do that, that's what's going to happen. I don't feel like I'm in the know most of the time. I feel like maybe if I complain a bit more, if I get the manager, if I know the manager, if I don't know the manager, a host of different ways things can go. And sometimes that's just a bit frustrating, because you can't prepare, you can't plan. Sometimes that can be a little bit frustrating, and sometimes that can be a complete advantage, because it just means that if you're very good at working your magic, you can make your result whatever you want it to be. So it depends how you look at it. If you have visited Africa or one of the African countries, you will know that customer service is Uganda. We're getting better over the years. I mean, I've been visiting since I was about 5, 6. We're getting somewhere, but it's still ugh. Kenya, I think you guys are good, you know. I have a feeling Kenya is the lick. I only have East African experience. I don't know, if you're from another African country or you visited another African country, let me know in the comments below what the customer service was for you. But out here in Rwanda, our customer service is just not on par. I'm sorry guys, I love you, I love you, I love you, but customer service is just not good. And I don't know if that goes back to the lack of clear information. I don't know if it's like the employer doesn't empower the employees. I don't know if it's our natural attitudes. I don't know what it is, but something about something just makes customer service kind of rubbish, which means that most of the time your daily interactions can be very, very difficult and sometimes very annoying. So come here with a positive attitude and just kind of be forgiving to all those that you encounter, and just don't come with those high expectations that you have, that you don't even realize you have, because where we're from, customer service is a big, well, where we're from in Europe, in America, in the outsides, customer service is a big deal. And I actually find it quite sad that we don't take customer service as such a big deal, because customer service means coins.
Sis, we need to leave that attitude at home and know that you are always in the mood
to collect coins. Okay? Okay. Next, advice.